right, we got lots to talk about today. Lots of rumors swirling around here in terms of Xbox. A game potentially getting delayed. Xbox potentially getting a first-party PlayStation IP onto the console, which would be crazy to see. Capcom looking at reactivating more older IPs. We have some more information about Grand Theft Auto 6 and Elden Ring, Nightreign having an open beta. Lots to talk about, all that stuff plus more. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share the video, like the video, and let's jump right into it. Speaking about games for Xbox 2025, we've already talked about this multiple times on this channel. I'm actually very excited about 2025. 2024 was a great year, but 2025 looks really, really good when you think about Fable. You have Doom. You now have The Outer Worlds 2. You have Avowed, and more to come. I mean, Call of Duty is going to be coming as well. There's just so many games that are going to be coming up from Xbox first party, landing into Game Pass day one. If they can hit on all of these games, it is going to be potentially the best year ever that Xbox has ever had in terms of their output. But we have some more information here that it talks about a game getting delayed. Now, I don't believe this means it's going to affect any of the games that have already been previously announced. You see a lot of people talking about this, but Jeff Grubb clarifies in these rumors here that it's not a game that's already been slated for 2025. So we have this tweet here from Rebs Gaming saying, according to Jeff Grubb, a big Xbox game that was aiming for a 2025 release is now releasing in 2026. Just to clarify the situation, Nate Drake says any Xbox game Microsoft has publicly dated for 2025 remains on track for 2025. So if you're worried about all of the games that have already been dated, it does not seem like that is going to have an effect on those release dates. It seems like there's another game that they were going to announce for 2025 that is going to get delayed into 2026, which would make absolute sense. I mean, you don't want to put all your games out at the same time in the same year, and definitely want to give them the time to breathe and make sure that the games come out in great quality. I mean, Indiana Jones came out at the beginning of December, and a lot of people have the question, well, could they have released this thing earlier? Maybe got it into the Game Awards discussion so that it would have gotten its recognition this year. I mean, it could get its recognition last year, but with how big of a year 2025 is going to be, and a whole year going by, it's going to fall by the wayside, I would bet. It probably won't get very much recognition at all next year. And you would think that they would want to get that recognition if they could have pushed it out earlier. Should they have done that? That is the question. Does it really matter for the Game Awards, or was the game simply just not ready and they had to wait all the way to the beginning of December? The reality is, whatever they did was the right choice because the game came out polished and the game came out in a very good state. And whether it gets the recognition or not isn't that huge of a deal. Anyone who's played Indiana Jones knows it's a great game. But when it comes to next year, do they want to spread out these release dates and make sure that there is enough space between all of them and take maybe a big game and move it over to 2026, even if the game is ready to be released? I think that's what they should do. When you have that many first-party games, you don't want to just put them all out at the same time. The first thing is people aren't going to play them all. They just won't have the time. A lot of games are going to overshadow others. There's obviously games that are bigger than others. So you just want to have every game have its room to breathe and get all the publicity that it needs. So we'll see if that is the case, if there is another one that they have not announced. Now, they do continue on here and say the games that have public release date 2025 is Fable, Avowed, Doom, The Dark Ages, The Outer Worlds 2, and South of Midnight. That's one I forgot to mention, one that I'm very excited about. So I don't believe any of those ones are going to get delayed based off of what they are saying here. I mean, obviously those things can change, but Jeff Grubb does not know which game it is. He's assuming it's Perfect Dark. It would be just absolutely insane if Perfect Dark was a 2025 game. I don't think it is. I've always thought of Perfect Dark as a 2026 release game. We have seen gameplay of it, but they didn't give us a date. And I would have been surprised if at the summer game show, if everything was on track that they had already slated for 2025, if they would have said that Perfect Dark was also coming out, let's say at the end of the year. I feel like at the summer game show for Xbox, at their showcase, they will show Perfect Dark again, but then we will get probably an early 2026, first half of the year release date for that game. So who knows what it is? Who knows if he's just throwing stuff out there? But the first party lineup is insane. They have this flexibility now to push games, to delay games, to make sure that every game is perfectly polished before it's released. It does not need to be pushed out when they have content always coming out. Now, obviously, the exclusive talk, we talked about this already. It's old news. It's been old news for a number of years now. But the question is the next hardware for Xbox. What is it going to be? How cool is it going to be? How powerful is it going to be? Where do they want to go aside from the handheld? Because I do believe they will still have that at-home console that will give people that option if they want to play games at the highest resolutions and frame rates possible on a console. They want to give the power players, you could say, that option. Now, we have some tweets here from Jez Corner. A couple of things here he actually does weigh in on here. Not only just the consoles, but also the overall strategy of Xbox. Some interesting stuff here. First of all, we have this here, a response to Risk It for the Biscuit. And he is quote tweeting Jez, who had tweeted out, Xbox won't have exclusives going forward. Everything is timed exclusive at most. He quote tweets that and says, if this is true, Xbox needs hardware that eats 4090s for breakfast. And Jez responds, they're working on some pretty crazy stuff. Will be interesting to see if they pull it off. And I mean, you could take that in many different directions, but he specifically is speaking about 4090s here. So you have to ask, are they going to be releasing a console that is on the level of a 4090? And if they are able to do that, it won't be for a couple of years, so the costs will have decreased a bit. The 5000 to 50 series cards will be out from NVIDIA, so the 4090 won't be the most powerful card or anywhere near it. But we do know that it will be very expensive either way, because a 4090 card will still be very, very good in 2 years from now. It will be extremely expensive if they were to release something that even comes close to a 4090. It's going to be at that PS5 Pro price range. And this is what I've been saying now for a while. The PS5 Pro, in my opinion, has set the floor price going into the next gen for the at-home consoles, because especially if it sells decently, people are willing to buy it. That's where the floor is going to be. And you would doubt that going into the next gen, PlayStation is going to be all of a sudden selling a console for like $300-400 when they are able to just sell the PS5 Pro here for $700. And the Xbox is probably looking at that and thinking, well, you can play Xbox anywhere. The console is going to be something that is only sold to the people that still play on console. That market is not growing. So we're going to give them something that is relatively strong, but also will be more niche in general, I would say, if the price tag is high. So we'll see how this goes. There's so much to look forward to in the next hardware generation. It's very interesting with the way that the industry is evolving. And you think about the handheld. Are they going to eventually license out a console UI to other handheld manufacturers like Steam is doing it? And I think they should. I feel like Steam is definitely beating them to the punch on that end. But the other thing that Jez does talk about here, it's actually an interesting thread going back and forth on the Xbox strategy. And Warhammer Dave says in a quote tweet from Jez saying, have fun on Steambox or PlayStation in 2027. And the quote tweet is about Jez saying, I think Xbox thinks hardware is doomed no matter what. And then Jez responds here and says, don't think they'll shut it down. It'll just be flat. When you're a giant company with trillions in market cap, flat isn't viable. They need to grow beyond console for that, but maintaining what they have will power that effort. If it doesn't shrink, and it may well. And that is something, I mean, Xbox has told us that. They've literally told us exactly what Jez is saying here. Jez isn't coming up with anything brand new or even that crazy insightful. No offense to Jez, but this is what Xbox has told us. They've shown us charts. We saw it in the FTC filing, and just in general, Phil Spencer has said multiple times, the console market is not growing. It is stagnant. And he's absolutely correct. When you are a $1 trillion company, you're beholden to your shareholders and everything. You always have to grow. And if it isn't growing, they have to find other ways to bring in that money. And the same thing if you even look at PlayStation's console market. I mean, their console market is relatively stagnant. They are selling the same amount of consoles every single generation. They eventually have to find ways to grow too, which is why they're going out there and putting their games on PC. And then you have Warhammer Dave's response to that saying, Game Pass would need to grow exponentially if the digital store suffers losses to both Steam sales and people migration to PlayStation. You would imagine that Microsoft would double down on trying to get people into their digital store since it's free money on every microtransaction and game sale. And Jez responds, it's not free money. It's actually incredibly expensive to run your own store. The margins are better, but it's not free. So far, Microsoft hasn't seen a large migration to PlayStation. People are going to PC. That's an issue for Sony as well, hence their support for Steam. And he's absolutely correct. It is an issue for Sony and PlayStation. They see this. Everyone sees the writing on the wall that PC, they got to get those players. There are so many PC gamers out there, and you have to give them an enticing option if you want to keep them still in your ecosystem, you want to keep them on your console, you have to give them that option that, hey, you can also get this stuff on PC. And Xbox is doing it far better than PlayStation is doing it. And they have a big advantage for that. You look at the Xbox store, you look at Play Anywhere, going into the next generation, it's about who can capture multiple different segments of gamers where their games are, where they're playing. That's why I think Xbox have set themselves up far better than PlayStation has. Yes, PlayStation is putting their games on PC, but that integration between console and PC is just not nearly as good or the same as what Xbox has. And that's going to give them a big advantage, I think, going into the next generation. The other thing that is interesting when it comes to games going in different places is we're always talking about Xbox games going over to PlayStation, specifically on the console, Xbox IPs. And you generally would look back and think there's no way that PlayStation will ever allow their major first-party IP onto an Xbox console. And I still am skeptical that this would happen. Yes, MLB came over, and I still think that is a first-party PlayStation game. It is landing on Xbox. People are always saying it's just because of the MLB, which they play a major role in that happening, but it is still a PlayStation IP in the MLB series with the MLB licensing and everything on Xbox, on Nintendo. And another one that could be coming over is Horizon, which this one I'm sort of skeptical, but I would also not be surprised about this rumor. Here we have Insider Gaming saying Lego Horizon Adventures could be coming to Xbox in the coming months. Now, this game is already on the Nintendo Switch, so this is already a major first-party PlayStation IP, maybe their biggest at right now, as they're continuously pushing it forward to everything on their biggest competitor, the Nintendo Switch in Japan and in those regions. And it says here that it has been claimed that Lego Horizon Adventures could soon be coming to Xbox in a bid to make the game a commercial success. That's according to Arab media outlet Just Play It, who claim that their sources have said that Lego Horizon Adventures will be coming to Xbox in the coming months. Now, again, just a rumor, just one outlet saying this, but you do have to sit back and think this game did not do very well. And just working with Lego, the licensing, all that type of stuff, like I'm sure there's a deal in there. They have to make their money back. And one way to do that would be able to put this game onto more places, and Xbox would be that place. So I wouldn't be that surprised in the sense that they're trying to just scratch out some more sales and try to get as much money out of this game as possible. That game that just did not fare well, and they probably had big hopes for it, just it being a Lego game and having that appeal to kids and to families, and you think that's just an easy buy for people. But Horizon and everything probably, I would say, held that back a bit. So they may think we'll put it on Xbox, see if we can get maybe a couple 100,000 more sales or something and try to make some more money off it. But we will see. It will be an interesting, if that does happen, it'll be interesting to see what the narrative is. You know, it's going to be turned into, oh, it's a PlayStation IP, but it's only happening because of Lego, and there's not going to be any big issue around that. So that will be funny to track as if, I guess, this does happen. All right, let's jump over here. Let's talk about GTA 6. We have a bit more info here about the game itself from the CEO of Take-Two, Strauss Zelnick. And he says that GTA 6 will be breathtaking and worth waiting for. He says this is way bigger and way better and more exciting and more beautiful than you could possibly have ever thought of. And the fan feedback is important, but you can't be data driven, be creatively driven, which this brings me back to the whole speech here from Swen Vink at the end of the Game Awards. And basically that was, he was saying is you support your developers, you let the creativity speak for the video game itself. But GTA 6, he's saying it's going to be breathtaking and worth waiting for. And I do believe it. Obviously, he is the CEO of Take-Two. He's not going to come out and talk badly about the game whatsoever. But GTA 6 is going to be very interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, is it actually going to be out this year? Are they going to delay it? There's still those rumors that they may push it to 2026. You're seeing other publishers and developers waiting to launch the release date of their games because they want to see the official date of GTA 6. You don't want to launch anywhere around this game. And it's only coming out on console at launch. So I do believe it's going to be breathtaking. I do believe it's going to be big and worth waiting for, but it is going to be limited in terms of its scope and in terms of how good and everything it can look by only releasing on the consoles, running on the X, the S, and the PS5 and the PS5 Pro not being able to use something like a 4090 GPU, where we will eventually see that when it does launch on PC and be able to see like what the highest NPC can do for this game. Because even now you look at GTA 5 and just how amazing those game looks on higher end PCs. So that'll be interesting to track, but I'm very excited for GTA. This is going to be the year of GTA if it actually hits its release date, and hopefully we will see some more about it. It's been over a year now since we've seen gameplay or really heard anything else about the game besides some quotes like this. So hopefully we get something at one of those showcases coming up. All right, The Witcher 4. Ciri is the main character. They showed us the UE5 game trailer. Game looks phenomenal. What they did show us in the trailer was an actual quest. And one of the questions people have about Ciri is who's playing Ciri. Is it the same actor and everything? It looks like it is going to be a new cast here for The Witcher 4, at least for Ciri, as we have this report here saying Ciri has been recast in The Witcher 4. This has been confirmed here by CD Projekt Red, and this is CD Projekt Red confirming to The Gamer that Ciara Berkeley will play Ciri in The Witcher 4, not the character's original actor Joe Wyatt, saying Ciara Berkeley was cast as Ciri for the Witcher 4 cinematic revealed trailer, and Ciara is a talented actress who impressed us with her enthusiasm and vocal acting skills, and it is in this trailer we believe she truly brought Ciri to life in a way that is both faithful to the character and exciting for the fans of the series. So if you love the voice actor of the older series, it's going to be different. The thing with this game is that it is, they say, I think 10 years after The Witcher 3, so Ciri is older, more wise, all of that type of stuff, right? It's going to be a different setting for it. We're also waiting to see where Geralt plays into this game because they just don't want to spoil it. So I'm excited to see this game, excited to see more about it, and we'll see how this new voice actor does in terms of winning over the fans who are big fans of The Witcher and the character Ciri. All right, let's talk Capcom, because Capcom is following along this trend, which I think is actually very cool. You're seeing Sega do it as well, which is kind of digging back into their old IPs and giving us new modern versions of games, new entries into the series. And at the Game Awards, Capcom was like bringing us back to like the OG Xbox and PS2 era of Capcom. We got Onimusha, which they showed off coming out in 2026. I can't wait for that game. It looks very, very good. I still have my PS2 copy. And then we're getting a sequel to Okami. They're working with Hideki Kamiya's new studio to give us a sequel for that game. So they're going back into their old IPs and they're bringing us new versions of the games. And it looks like they're not done. And this is very exciting. We kind of saw that signaled when they went back and did all those remakes of Resident Evil, which they did a phenomenal job. And Capcom has not missed in a long time with any releases for their games. But we have this here saying Capcom saying it's working on reactivating other dormant IPs like Onimusha and Okami. On Thursday, the Japanese development giant announced that it is developing new entries into the series. And they say now Capcom has said that it's working on bringing more legacy franchises back in modern forms. They say here, in addition to regularly releasing new titles each year, Capcom is focusing on reactivating dormant IPs that haven't had a new title launch recently. The company is working to further enhance corporate value by leveraging its rich library of content, which includes reviving past IPs like the two titles announced above in order to continuously produce highly efficient, high quality titles. One of the games that people have been asking for a while is Dino Crisis, and I have a feeling that it is going to be on the way. They're going back into their back catalog and they are bringing a lot of their older stuff out. I can't wait. I mean, will Beautiful Joe make a return? I kind of hope it does. That would be super cool to see as well. There's so many great games that in the back catalog we haven't seen in a very long time. And I wonder if these developers at a point were just thinking that there was not enough people there that were interested in it. But now we're in a time where it's costing more to develop games. It's becoming riskier to put new ideas and new IPs out. So jumping into your older franchises where you already have an established fan base, and there's less risk in that because you know you're probably going to get a certain amount. So you can project with IPs that you've already put out there that were successful that you will sell this amount. When you're putting a brand new thing out, it is much harder to know how successful it will be. And maybe they're looking at that and thinking, we have to make sure that we put out new ideas, because Capcom has been doing some stuff like that. I mean, the Kunitsugami game, which I don't think did very well commercially, but is a pretty cool game. They put out Exo Primal as well. I don't know how well that did commercially, but I'm guessing not that great. So they're looking at their new stuff that nobody's heard of, and they're probably thinking those don't do as well. But if we jump back into reactivating old dormant IPs that already has an established fan base, there's probably just a much better chance that they will be successful commercially. Now, the other thing that was shown off at the Game Awards was a brand new Elden Ring game, Elden Ring Nightreign. This is a brand new entry to the franchise. It is built for co-op, and there will be a beta test coming here in February. We have this that they announced saying that the network test is a preliminary verification test in which the selected testers play a portion of the game prior to the full game launch, and it will start on January 10th for PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, but there's no information on the PC test. They also say various technical verifications of online systems will be examined by conducting large-scale network load tests. As a co-op game, they're going to have this thing ready to go at launch. That would be something that we've seen happen recently with multiplayer online games where they've launched, can't get into the servers, and it just takes a lot of the hype away from game, and you lose people. They just don't go back after it. Elden Ring, I feel like if there was an issue, they would still get players back, which is because of how popular it is and how popular From Software is, but they definitely want to make sure that they stress everything before launching that game itself. And when you jump in, you're jumping in full with co-op. And finally, we have this, a brand new game that has been announced, and I would definitely keep your eyes on this one if you are an RPG fan. This is from Rebel Wolves, and they announced the Blood of Dawnwalker. Full reveal will be coming in January. It is going to be published here by Bandai Namco, and this is from this studio that was founded in February of 2022, and this says consists primarily of former CD Projekt Red developers, including Matthias Thomas Kiewicz. I tried my best on that one, and he is the creative director of the game itself. So very cool. They say that if you're looking for more about this, it will be revealed on January 13th, 2024 at 1 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. EST. But I would definitely keep your eyes open for this one here. It's just a 44-second trailer. It doesn't really show you anything other than the name and when you can see more about it. But former CDPR developers working on it. Could be a juggernaut here if they pull off what I'm guessing they have in mind for wanting to compete with other major RPGs out there. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.